Hi, I wanted to do a quick video on homeopathy because I've gotten questions about homeopathy from my other, I think one of my other videos that I recently did. I talked a little bit about homeopathy being like energy medicine in a pill, and I'd like to talk more about that. Um, when I was kind of on my journey coming out of energy healing, I had this really cool, that was a whole like the birth experience with my midwives and stuff. Well, one of the midwife assistants that was there, the spirit told me to call her, and I had a really good conversation with her. She'll want to be unnamed, but because she's afraid of speaking out and the persecution that can come from telling the truth and telling what the spirit told her. But the spirit told me to actually ask her about muscle testing, and then I further wanted to ask her about homeopathy. Um, in her studies, her story is that, so this is just secondhand, and this is just kind of some background, and I'll be sharing more past her story, but I did want to say, on a lighter note, I became a temple worker. I'm so excited. I was on cloud nine after leaving the temple for my first shift last Saturday, and I was literally so happy. Like I was so happy, filled up. Like my cup was overflowing with the joy of God. There's no other way I can explain it, but I know that my temple service will fill me in all the ways that I need to be the person I need to be for my kids and everything, and I'm just really excited. Anyway, um, so I'm just gonna get some water here. I'm a little sick, so sorry about that. But I um have a friend. She was so into homeopathy that she would actually make dilutions, make homeopathic dilutions. And she was with a group of people, and this other woman would go around Utah, like Salt Lake County and stuff, teaching about how to heal with homeopathy and stuff like that. Um, as she got further and further into it, she would continue to make dilutions. She'd continue to try to help her family. Something started seeming off with it, and she earnestly prayed about it. And as she looked in the scriptures for her answers, that's often where you will find your answers, or in the scriptures, the story about Satan appearing to Moses right after Moses's encounter with the Lord on the Mount Transfiguration. I don't know. But that story happened where Satan is, gnashing and reviling because recognizes his powerlessness compared to Christ. I think it's really interesting because she took that as her answer, that meant that homeopathy was not good. It was like we're in counterfeit territory. And as I've talked with others about homeopathy, the same thing has to come to come to they not I have not convinced them to come to that conclusion. They came to that conclusion by the power of the spirit after arguing with me and being angry with me for even bringing it up. And then they find themselves with the spirit agreeing with me. So all you have to do is, if you are in the right state and your heart is in the right state where you are earnestly trying to do the will of the Lord and you are in homeopathy, I think the spirit will let you know and will correct your heart because your heart is in the right place to receive revelation. So many people say, well, I've prayed about it and I got the right stuff. How many times in the scriptures, or I got the right answer, that this is okay and this is good for my family and I'm on the right track. The track is not, if you're on the right track, you're not at the destination. You're on a track. If you're seeking the Lord's will, you're on a good track. So keep going to continue seeking the Lord's will so he can continue to teach you about his ways, because they're higher than our ways. I want to get into the specifics of homeopathy, because when you really read into these homeopathic dilutions, you start to understand why this is actually just energy medicine in a pill. So I'm going to read a little bit about it on Wikipedia. You can just find this under homeopathic dilutions. In homeopathy, homeopathic dilution is a process in which a substance is diluted with alcohol or distilled water and then vigorously shaken in a process called succession. Insoluble solids, such as quartz and oyster shell, are diluted by grinding them with lactose, which is just a sugar. The founder of homeopathy, Samuel Hahnemann, asserted that the process of succession activated the vital energy of the diluted substance, and that successive dilutions increased the potency of the preparation. Although other strands of homeopathy disagreed, such as Schussler's strands. Listen, the homeopathic potency scales are absolutely through the roof. So, I used to eat gluten, and I used to, eat gluten free. And, there's like a certain like parts per million that's tolerable for those that have celiac. It was only a little bit, and it took them, it was like 156 parts per million or whatever. Well, think about something. So, on this Wikipedia page, which I'll link in the description, it shows a bottle of Arnica Montana, and the nominal dilution is 1 part in 1 million. So it's D6. It is 1 part in 1 million. And to even get a reaction from somebody, you had to be at like 20 parts per million for like if they had gluten around and they were super sensitive to gluten. 20 parts per million, okay? Like it says here in talking about this, the concept is pseudoscience because at commonly used dilutions, no molecules of the original material are likely to remain. Therefore, high homeopathic dilutions must be distinguished from low dilutions, where there can be an overlap with herbal medicine. So, the difference between homeopathy and herbal medicine is actually huge, because herbal medicine is just regular medicine. You have a milligram amount, you are using a plant that has all of its healing properties. You're taking it for the properties to change your physical well being. When you are using homeopathy, you are taking the energy of a plant and hoping that heals the energy of your sickness. What? There is no logic in it, because if you are sick, you need medicine. That's what you need. You don't need an energy to fix your energy. The whole concept of your energy is off, and oh, you have trapped emotions, and oh, you have you know attachments, and they're eating at you, and you need to take, oh, for instance, blue yarrow is something that was like I was trying to take, and like flower essences, like if you just take flower essences, like the energy of the flower will like heal your energy. And it's like, back when my daughter was really young, they had Highland's teething tablets. Highland's teething tablets contained belladonna. And there was an accident. Sorry about that. There was an accident that involved the death of a baby because the mother was giving these babies these teething tablets and the belladonna wasn't diluted enough. So it actually ended up killing the baby because belladonna is a poison and it was given at an herbal dose. And if you think, oh, well, if they just did it right, then the baby could have been better. And if it was done right, there would have been nothing left of the actual physical medicine, and the baby would have just had sugar. So, at what point and by what power is something working if we are consistently shoving energy, supposed to be energy of the whatever it is, to match the energy of the sickness, and then if you put them together, then it cancels it out, right? That's supposed to be the law of similars, is what it's called. But it makes no logical sense. And the Lord does not work in secrets and in codes and in this illogical space. To give somebody energy and to seek healing, that's his plane. That's his authority. His authority, the priesthood authority that's given to men from God to administer to the sick and the afflicted, that is the authority that they operate in. That is what they have the power to do. And if you are seeking authority outside of that plane, you are in a spiritually dangerous territory and you need to reevaluate. And if you are a God-fearing individual, you need to ask God sincerely if you are doing the right thing. We have the power as women to give and administer to our children on the physical plane, okay? The physical plane being in milligrams, in medicine. All my kids just got sick. They got RSV and strep. I knew of a 2-year-old that died because she had a virus and then she had strep and the strep went to her heart. If I was messing around with homeopathy and so we just got my 2-year-old tested at the doctor. This is something I don't usually do. I don't usually go to the doctor, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to the doctor because I had that story in my head and I'm like, I know if it can happen, then I don't want it to happen to my own kid. Well, lo and behold, she had RSV and she had strep at the same time. So what am I going to do? I'm going to give her an antibiotic because we need to get the strep out of there right away so her body can also fight this virus at the same time. You know what else I'm doing at the same time? I'm giving her an echinacea glycerin tincture because that is so good at drying up mucus and helping the mucus in her lungs to dry up because I was worried she was having pneumonia because of the rapid breathing. It was scary for a few days. I was scared. But I'm not it is my authority to be able to act on her behalf and give her these medicines to actually heal her physically. If I was relying just on homeopathy, we would all be a little on edge right now. And there'd probably be worse consequences. I'm not going to play around. I know that I can just give my daughter probiotics. She loves drinking kefir. I'm like, you know what? We'll just keep drinking kefir. It'll be okay. We're going to heal. We will, get ourselves back up after the antibiotics kind of took us down a notch on our gut health, right? We can get ourselves back up. What I'm not going to mess around with is the threat of death. And I kept on like scaring me. It was scaring me. I felt like the spirit was scaring me. Like, she might die if you don't do something. And I'm like so scared. So of course I go to urgent care Saturday morning. I get the diagnosis of RSV and strep, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll just give her the antibiotics. It literally doesn't matter. And now she's happy, she's healthy, she's about to wake up from a nap. Everything's okay. So, all that to say, medicine is intended to be used on the physical plane. And I want to read D&C 89 because this is very important. Keep in mind the story of the baby that died from the belladonna in the Highlands teething tablets. We're going to go to D&C 89, which is the word of wisdom. So, we're going to number 10. Verse 10. And again, verily I say unto you, all wholesome herbs God hath ordained for the constitution, nature, and use of man. Every herb in the season thereof, and every fruit in the season thereof, all these to be used with prudence and thanksgiving. Okay, homeopathy is not herbal medicine because if you are making it at herbal dosages, it's poison and will kill. Homeopathy is always poison. It's diluted poison and then the energy like knocks out the energy of the sickness. But where is the energetic level of the sickness on the authority of the radar of our authority? That's not our authority. That is the priesthood of God's authority to change. It's not our authority to change energies. That's the priesthood authority, right? So, wholesome herbs are a part of the word of wisdom because homeopathy was actually invented. Let's see. 1807. So, right around the time of the Restoration, some people use that as an excuse to say, oh, well, that means that, it was all just the spirit of amazing restoration. Well, let's actually think about it and rephrase that. It might actually just be the opposing, adversarial spirit trying to counteract D&C 89. It was given in 1833. This revelation was given in 1833. He didn't say all herbs God hath ordained for the constitution, nature, and use of man. We know of opium. We know of that comes from the poppy. We know of weed, which is psychedelic in nature and can increase your risk of schizophrenia. If it's used at a young age, it can increase risk of schizophrenic delusions and hallucinations when you're older, and increases risk of other mental problems when you're older. And like we know of, there's tons of others. I mean, you look at every single homeopathic dilution, and it's a poison. Now, arnica, you can use that on your body in a regular herbal form because that is a pain relief. And it even in the Doctrine and Covenants 89 here, it says that, okay, alcohol, strong drinks are not for the belly, for the washing of your bodies. Arnica could be considered a strong part of a strong, something strong, but it's for the washing of your body. So you use it on your body to help you with pain. I use CBD on my topically actually on my ankle every once in a while. It's like an oil that I got whenever CBD became legalized or um, so those are just a few things to consider. Another thing that is very hard to prove that nobody wants to say and nobody wants to point out from the life of Samuel Hahnemann, but my friend was able to find out about him, was that he was involved in witchcraft. Um, Obviously, you're not going to have very good spirits around you if you're involved in witchcraft. I don't know. I don't really have to say that. We shouldn't have to say that, but um, probably not very good influences. And uh, homeopathy is just a counterfeit to God's true medicine that he grew out of the ground, which are the wholesome herbs of the earth. I wouldn't even say mushrooms are wholesome. For just going on a little side note there, I wouldn't even really say mushrooms are wholesome because your uh, they change your perception in an unhealthy way. And ayahuasca, definitely not. That's a drug intended to change who you are, and that's not what herbs are made for. To heal you and restore you, not completely throw you for a loop and change you. So, anyways, just wanted to share a few of those things. If you know somebody that's involved in homeopathy, feel free to send them this video. But at the end of the day, if you're involved in homeopathy, I just ask that you reconsider and you pray about it. If you're an earnest seeker of truth and all truth, that you pray about it and ask God if you've been deceived, and He will be able to show you the way. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.